The newest update for Super Smash Bros. Crusade is finally officially out. Update 9.1 has a ton of new changes to the game, such as adding new characters like Shantae and Dr. Mario, and adding lots of new single-player content that I'll be giving my initial thoughts and opinions on. Now, I didn't play much Crusade back in 9.0 since I wasn't a huge fan. I didn't really dislike Crusade, but I just preferred SSF2. And I know some people hate Crusade with a passion, but before I didn't really hate it, I just preferred playing SSF2 more. But I'll just say this right off the bat. This is by far the best version of Crusade we've gotten, and I've had a lot more fun playing it. It's improved in basically every aspect, and it's packed full of new content. However, it's not perfect. I will briefly talk about some flaws I think that are in the game, but overall it's gotten a lot better. Anyways, I'll split this video into 6 sections where I go over the visuals of the game, the audio, the engine, the characters, the gameplay, and the single player content. And if you haven't already and you want to give the newest update of Crusade a try for yourself, there's a link to the download in the description below. Even if you aren't a fan of the earlier versions, I'm sure you'll at least find something interesting in it, so I recommend giving it a try. And obviously this isn't a review of the game since it's only been out for a day. It's just my initial thoughts and opinions on the game, so things like balance and how competitive it is will take a lot longer than a day to find out, so I won't really be going over those types of things. Right off the bat, the visuals are way improved. The character select screen looks incredible and is so much more professional and visually pleasing compared to the old one. Like seriously, just look at the new character portraits. They look so much better than the old, goofy, and unprofessional ones. This is by far one of my favorite additions to the game. Looking at some of the old ones just makes them look so much worse compared to these new and improved ones. While we're on the topic of character select screen, another positive of Crusade is its fairly good color swaps for characters. Since Crusade isn't limited by flash like SSF2, they actually have pretty good natural looking color palettes for most of the characters. Although some aren't as good as others, there are some really good looking color palettes. Moving on to the sprites of the game is where the update gets a little shaky. The sprites for the new characters look fairly good with smooth animations and nice detail. However, some of the older characters look a lot worse in comparison, such as Zero Suit Samus and DK, who honestly, just look at them. That quality difference really hurts the game as a whole. The quality is really good at parts, but then iffy in others. Hopefully in future updates they'll give some resprites to some of these characters who really need it, since in my opinion that's really what Crusade is lacking in the visuals. ZSS in specific has really clunky animations and her sprite overall is just not very good looking. Overall, sprites are probably one of the weaker aspects of Crusade, but newer characters like Shantae look pretty good. The music in Crusade is by far one of its best strengths. It has multiple tracks on stages, which is a fairly nice feature like the main Smash games. And the song you're listening to right now is one of the themes on Final Destination, and is probably my favorite in the entire game. I'm also a pretty big fan of the main menu theme, and in general, the music of this game is actually really good. The sound effects are also fairly nice. I've never noticed any time where they felt out of place. And lastly is another good part of Crusade's audio, which is the announcer, who I'm personally a pretty big fan of. So yeah, no complaints from me on the audio. I think the music is excellent, and overall it just feels great. The engine for Crusade is pretty weird, but I think it's improved quite a bit. Now again, I didn't play much 9.1, so I might be off on a few things here, but I believe the engine is quite better. There's a lot of cool techniques that SSF2 doesn't have, such as wall jumping and the ability to change your air dodge, which allows you to wave dash with melee air dodge, or go for a Rivals of Aether style Crusade air dodge, which can help you with your recovery. Small changes like being able to change your air dodge are actually pretty cool and really unique to Crusade, and probably one of my favorite features in the game. Another pretty cool addition to Crusade in this update is the addition of 360-degree angles on moves such as Fox and Falco's up B as well as Ness's up B. These are pretty nice changes for controller players, but since I'm typically a keyboard user since I came from SSF2, I'm not necessarily that excited about it since it makes controllers objectively better for those characters, but overall it's still a cool addition. The gameplay is also fairly fast from what I've played. It's not really a slower paced Smash Bros game, although it'll definitely take some more time for me to really know for sure. Also, Crusade runs at 60 FPS, so I think the animations in general look fairly fluid most of the time, and the game runs pretty well on my computer. Characters are where things get a little divided with people's opinions. Crusade tends to go for a quantity over quality type of mindset when it comes to characters. They have tons of characters with unique movesets, but some are really lacking in design and can lead to lower quality sprites, and some are even questionable for being in the game. The most obvious one everyone brings up when they're talking about negatives of Crusade's roster is the addition of a character like Ouija. Ouija is an old, dead meme that's just a joke character for the game. Everyone always talks about this one, but it's for a good reason. Some of these characters, even as joke characters, just straight up lack in quality and definitely don't add to the game. We got Mach Rider, Tingle, and Rystar before Smash staples like Zelda and Sheik. But I'm not just going to sit here and bash the character roster. There's actually some great additions that are really fun and enjoyable to play. Some of my personal favorites are Crystal and Toad, who have unique and interesting movesets that really just feel right at home with the rest of the roster. Overall, there's some good additions and some really questionable additions, and hopefully in updates to come they can work on those questionable ones and improve them. As for the new characters, they all feel amazing. Shantae is really an absolute blast to play, and you can tell they took their time on her and didn't rush her at all. Dr. Mario is also fairly fun to play and a nice addition to the roster. Also, I wanted to mention that Crusade has a lot of its characters locked off from the start, so you're gonna have to unlock about half of them to get the entire roster, which could be a good or a bad thing depending on who you are. The gameplay is sort of what you'd expect. It's a Smash fan game. I haven't played too much online since the online in Crusade doesn't have dedicated servers, which means you have to use other means, but from what I have played, it's actually fairly fun with some friends. The gameplay isn't really boring. There's combos, advanced techniques, and it's overall a fun time. Since there's a wide selection of game modes, characters, and stages, there's always something to do. Speaking of game modes, you can actually have up to 6 players, which is a fairly cool feature. There's also tons of different game modes, such as King of the Hill mode, a deathmatch mode, and tons of others. So gameplay just really never gets boring. The game definitely strives in variety. I can see a lot of replayability in it, and it's definitely one of its greatest strengths. When it comes to stages, I personally like to play on somewhat legal ones, so Cutman Stage and Suzaku's Castle are some of my favorites. So I'd say the gameplay is actually pretty good. I personally had a lot of fun playing with both CPUs and playing online with friends. And lastly, we have the single player content, something that this update in specific was mostly about for Crusade. Classic mode has you go through an assortment of challenges, either by yourself or with a friend, similar to how Classic mode works in the official titles. It's an absolute blast and some of the most fun I've had in Crusade. There's also a fairly in-depth training mode from what you expect from a fan Smash game, which can definitely help you learn new characters. There's also the addition of Stadium mode, which has break the targets, board the platforms, and multi-man smash, my personal favorite being board the platforms. There's nothing really bad to say about the single player content. It's all really good and fun and adds to the game as a whole. Overall, this is an amazing update for Crusade, and I'm definitely enjoying myself playing. I'll definitely have to play some more online to know how really competitive it is and the balance of the game, but so far it's pretty good. And since I'm doing a Crusade video, I'm sure people will ask me in the comments whether I prefer SSF2 or Crusade. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion, and it really depends on what you're looking for in a fan Smash game. Some people prefer the variety of Crusade, while other people prefer the quality of SSF2. Personally, I like them both, but I've played SSF2 way more and have a ton of fun with that game. So I'd probably say I prefer SSF2 more than I prefer Crusade. Although I don't hate Crusade, I enjoy them both. This is really my first video covering Crusade, so I'm really hoping you guys enjoy it, and tell me if you guys want to see more Crusade videos in the future, since it's something I'm really enjoying doing so far. Anyways, hope you guys enjoy this new Crusade update. Thank you so much for watching.